Hey there, friend. I want to ask you something. Have you ever met someone in their 90s who still walks tall, talks clearly, laughs easily, and lives independently? I mean, not just surviving, but truly thriving at that age. I remember visiting my neighbor, Ruth, a few years back. She was 94 at the time, still gardening, cooking her own meals, and even driving herself to church on Sundays. I asked her what her secret was, expecting some exotic herb or a strict diet plan. But do you know what she said? She looked at me, smiled, and said, "I've been doing the same simple thing every morning for over 60 years. Doesn't take much time, but it's kept me going strong." Now, I was curious. What could possibly be so powerful and so easy that it helped someone live well into their 90s? Well, after talking to more people like Ruth, reading studies, and learning from experts who study longevity, I found out that there really is one daily routine that shows up again and again among those who live the longest, healthiest lives. And here's the best part. It only takes about 10 minutes a day. That's right, just 10 minutes. Not hours in a gym, not expensive supplements, not complicated routines. Just a short, consistent habit that supports your body, mind, and spirit in ways that add up over time. Now, before we dive in, let me tell you why this matters so much as we get older. As we age, our bodies naturally slow down. We might feel less energy, more stiffness, or maybe even a bit disconnected from life. But the truth is, aging doesn't mean decline. In fact, many people who live past 90 say they feel better now than they did at 60. And a big part of that comes down to how they start their day. Because how you begin your morning sets the tone for everything else. If you start off sluggish, rushed, or stressed, chances are the rest of your day will follow suit. But if you start with intention, with a little movement, some deep breathing, and a moment of gratitude, you give yourself the foundation you need to stay strong, balanced, and full of life. So what exactly is this routine? It's called Morning Mindfulness and Mobility, and it combines three key elements: gentle movement, deep breathing, and mental focus. Together, these help improve circulation, reduce stress, support joint health, and keep your brain sharp. All things that contribute to living longer and feeling better. Let me walk you through the first two parts of this routine, because once you see how simple it is, I think you'll be surprised by how much of a difference it can make. First, we start with gentle movement. Now, I'm not talking about jumping jacks or running laps. This is about waking up your body slowly and intentionally. Things like neck rolls, shoulder shrugs, wrist and ankle rotations, and seated leg lifts. Movements that gently loosen up your joints and muscles without putting strain on your body. Why does this matter? Because as we age, staying mobile is one of the most important things we can do to maintain independence. Stiffness leads to inactivity, which leads to weakness, and before you know it, you're avoiding things you used to enjoy, like walking around the block, playing with grandchildren, or even getting up from a chair without needing help. By moving just a little each morning, you send a signal to your body that it's still capable, still strong. And over time, those small movements add up to real improvements in balance, flexibility, and overall vitality. I remember when I first started doing this myself, I couldn't raise my arms above my head without pain. After a few weeks of gentle morning stretches, I noticed I could reach the top shelf again without wincing. It felt like a small win, but it reminded me that my body wasn't giving up on me. I just needed to remind it how to move. So here's what you can do. Sit comfortably in a chair or on the edge of your bed. Start by rolling your shoulders forward and backward a few times. Then tilt your head gently from side to side, letting your ear come toward your shoulder. Rotate your wrists and ankles, flex and point your feet. Lift one knee at a time, holding it for a second before lowering it back down. Do all of this slowly, paying attention to how your body feels. Don't rush. Don't push through pain. Just move within your comfort zone, because consistency matters more than intensity. Once you've warmed up your body, it's time for the next part of this routine: deep breathing. Yes, breathing. Sounds too simple, right? But hear me out. Most of us don't breathe the way we should, especially as we get older. We tend to take shallow breaths, mostly into our chest, instead of deep belly breaths that fully oxygenate our blood and calm our nervous system. Deep breathing has been shown to lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, and even improve digestion. It's like hitting a reset button for your body every single morning. Here's how to do it. Sit up straight, place one hand on your chest and the other on your stomach. Take a slow inhale through your nose, letting your stomach rise while keeping your chest still. Hold that breath for a couple of seconds, then exhale slowly through your mouth, letting your stomach fall. Repeat this 5 to 10 times. You might feel a little lightheaded at first, especially if you're not used to it, but stick with it. After a few days, you'll notice how much calmer and clearer you feel after just a few minutes of focused breathing. One woman I spoke to told me she used to wake up anxious every morning, worrying about her health, her family, and everything else. After adding deep breathing to her morning routine, she said those worries didn't disappear completely, but they became easier to manage, like she had a new tool to help her face the day with more peace. And finally, the third part of this daily routine, which we'll cover in just a moment, is mental focus. But before we get there, let me recap what we've covered so far. We've talked about how starting your day with just a few minutes of gentle movement helps keep your body limber and active. We've gone over how deep breathing supports your heart, your lungs, and your emotional well-being. And we've seen how both of these practices, done together, create a powerful foundation for long-term health. Now, before we continue, I want to encourage you to try these 2 steps tomorrow morning. Just 10 minutes total, 5 for movement, 5 for breathing. See how you feel afterward. Maybe you'll feel more awake, or maybe your shoulders won't ache quite as much when you go about your day. Either way, you're investing in your future self, the version of you that wants to stay independent, active, and joyful for as long as possible. And trust me, that future self will thank you for showing up for them every morning, even if it's just for 10 minutes. All right, now that we've covered movement and breathing, let's move on to the final piece of this powerful daily routine, the one that ties it all together and gives this habit its lasting impact. We'll pick up right there in the next part.
All right, friend, we've already covered 2 powerful parts of this daily routine: gentle morning movement and deep breathing. And if you tried those yesterday or today, I hope you noticed something subtle but meaningful. Maybe your joints felt a little looser, your breath came a little easier, or your mind was just a bit more at peace. Now let's talk about the third and arguably most overlooked part of this routine. It's something that costs nothing, takes just a few minutes, and yet has been shown in study after study to improve mood, reduce stress, and even support brain health as we age. It's gratitude. Yes, taking just a moment each morning to focus on what you're grateful for can have a surprisingly powerful effect on your overall well-being. And it's not just feel-good fluff, it's science-backed. You see, when we start our day by thinking about the things we appreciate, whether it's the warmth of the sun through the window, a cup of tea, a phone call from a loved one, or simply being able to move and breathe, we shift our mindset. We move away from worry, fear, or frustration and toward appreciation, calm, and joy. And that shift, it affects everything: your heart rate, your blood pressure, your sleep, even how you interact with others. Because when you feel better emotionally, your body follows suit. Let me tell you about a man named George, who I met while researching this topic. He was 92 at the time, sharp as a tack, and still lived completely on his own. When I asked him what he did every morning, he said, "Well, first thing I do is sit by the window with my coffee, and think about 3 good things in my life. Always has been that way. He didn't know it, but George was practicing something called a gratitude reflection, a simple habit that people in long-living communities around the world often do without even realizing it. So here's how you can make this part of your routine. After you finish your gentle movements and deep breathing, take a moment to sit quietly, either in bed, in a chair, or wherever feels peaceful to you. Close your eyes if you like, or just look out the window. Then bring to mind 3 things you're grateful for today. They don't have to be big. In fact, the smaller they are, the more real and meaningful they tend to feel. Maybe it's the sound of birds outside, a warm blanket, a memory of a happy moment, or someone you love. Whatever comes to mind, hold it there for a moment. Really feel the gratitude. This doesn't need to take more than a minute or 2, but over time, this practice rewires your brain to notice the positive more often. It builds emotional resilience, reduces anxiety, and helps you face the day with a sense of peace, even when life throws challenges your way. I know some folks might say, "What if I don't feel grateful?" That's okay. You don't have to force it. Just noticing something small, a flower blooming, a pet purring, or a neighbor waving can be enough. The act of looking for gratitude itself is what makes the difference. So now that we've gone through all 3 parts of this routine, movement, breathing, and gratitude, you might be wondering how these fit together so seamlessly. Think of them like 3 legs of a stool. Each one supports the others. Movement wakes up your body. Breathing calms your nervous system. Gratitude lifts your spirit. Together, they create a foundation that keeps you strong, balanced, and deeply connected to life. And the best part? This isn't something you have to do perfectly or every day to benefit. Even doing it a few times a week can begin to shift how you feel, not just in the moment, but over time. One woman I spoke to started doing this routine after recovering from surgery. At first, she could barely lift her arms and had trouble catching her breath. But after just a few weeks, she told me she felt more energy, slept better, and even looked forward to waking up in the morning. She hadn't expected such a small change to make such a big impact, but it did. That's the power of consistency. Not intensity, not perfection, just showing up for yourself, even in tiny ways, every day. Now, if you're feeling inspired by what we've covered so far, here's what I encourage you to do. Start tomorrow morning by doing just 5 minutes of gentle movement. Then, spend a couple of minutes focusing on your breath. And finally, take a moment to reflect on what you're grateful for. That's less than 10 minutes total, and it might be the most important 10 minutes of your entire day. As the days go by, pay attention to how you feel. Are you waking up with a little more ease? Do you find yourself smiling more throughout the day? Is it easier to handle the little frustrations that used to get under your skin? These subtle changes are signs that your body and mind are responding positively to this new habit. And that's exactly how healthy aging works, not through dramatic fixes, but through consistent, thoughtful choices. Now, before we wrap up, I want to share one more story with you. My Aunt 80 started doing this routine at 78 after years of feeling tired and disconnected. At first, she thought it was silly, just sitting there, moving slowly, thinking about what she was thankful for. But within a month, she said she felt lighter, more alert, and even more interested in life again. She told me, "I didn't realize how much I'd stopped paying attention to the little joys until I made space for them again." And that's really what this is all about. Making space for joy, for peace, for health, and for living fully, no matter your age. So, whether you're just starting to explore ways to stay active and independent, or you've been on this journey for a while, I hope you'll give this simple routine a try. Because the truth is, staying strong and healthy as we age isn't about complicated routines or expensive programs. It's about showing up for yourself every day in ways that honor your body, your mind, and your spirit. And with that, we've covered all 3 parts of this powerful daily habit. In the next part, we'll wrap everything up by sharing how to make this routine stick, how to adapt it to your lifestyle, and why even small efforts can lead to big results over time. So stick with me. We're almost there.
You know, when I first heard about this simple 10-minute routine, I'll admit, I was a little skeptical. How could something so short and easy really make a difference in how long and how well we live? But then I started talking to people like Ruth, George, and Edie, the ones who weren't doing anything flashy or extreme, but who were living their lives with strength, joy, and independence well into their 80s and 90s. And what did they all have in common? Not expensive treatments, not miracle diets, not hours at the gym, just this small, daily habit, movement, breathing, and gratitude, done consistently without pressure or perfection. Because here's the thing, longevity isn't just about how many years you live, it's about how fully you live them. It's about being able to walk your dog, play with your grandchildren, cook your favorite meals, and enjoy time with friends and family without pain holding you back or stress weighing you down. And that's exactly what this routine supports. It helps keep your body moving, your mind calm, and your heart full. And over time, those effects compound in powerful ways. Let me remind you of the 3 parts. First, gentle morning movement, just a few minutes of slow, mindful stretching and light exercise to wake up your joints and muscles. Second, deep breathing, taking full, conscious breaths that oxygenate your blood, lower your stress, and bring clarity to your day. And third, gratitude reflection, pausing to notice and appreciate even the smallest joys in life, which helps shift your mindset toward peace and positivity. Each of these on its own is beneficial, but together they create a powerful foundation for health, happiness, and long-term vitality. Now, if you've tried this routine even once, you might already be noticing how it changes the way you start your day. Maybe you feel more awake, more grounded, or maybe just a little more in control of your energy and emotions. That's not a coincidence. That's your body and mind responding to the care you're giving them every single morning. And here's the best part. You don't have to do it perfectly or every single day to benefit. Even doing it 2 or 3 times a week can begin to shift your outlook and improve your well-being. One woman told me she used to dread waking up because she felt stiff, tired, and anxious. But after adding this routine to her mornings, she said she started looking forward to the start of each day. I still move slower than I used to, but I feel lighter somehow. That word, lighter, is something I hear again and again from people who practice this kind of daily habit. Lighter in body, lighter in spirit, lighter in the way they carry themselves through life. And that's what aging well is really about. Not trying to stay young forever, but embracing each stage of life with grace, strength, and intention. So if you're feeling inspired by what we've covered today, here's my challenge to you. Start tomorrow morning with just 5 minutes of gentle movement. Then take a few minutes to focus on your breath. And finally, spend a moment thinking about one thing, just one, that you're grateful for today. That's less than 10 minutes total. And yet, it might be the most important 10 minutes of your entire day. As the days go by, pay attention to how your body feels. Are you waking up with a little more ease? Do you find yourself smiling more throughout the day? Is it easier to handle the little frustrations that used to get under your skin? These subtle shifts are signs that your body and mind are responding positively to this new habit. And that's exactly how healthy aging works. Not through dramatic fixes, but through consistent, thoughtful choices. Now, I know change can sometimes feel overwhelming, especially when you've been dealing with pain, fatigue, or emotional stress for a long time, but I truly believe that it's never too late to start making choices that support your health and happiness. Even if you've tried other things in the past that didn't work, don't give up. This isn't about fixing problems. It's about giving your body the tools it needs to heal, protect, and strengthen itself from the inside out. If you found this helpful, and I hope you did, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. We've got more videos coming your way filled with practical tips, easy routines, and lifestyle strategies to help you live your best life after 60. And if you've already started this routine and noticed a change in how you feel, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and share your experience. Your story might just inspire someone else to give it a try. Because the truth is, aging doesn't have to mean slowing down. It doesn't have to mean living with constant pain or giving up the activities you love. With the right support, your body is still capable of healing, adapting, and thriving even at 60, 70, or beyond. So here's to taking those small, meaningful steps toward better health. Here's to enjoying your favorite meals with less discomfort. And here's to staying active, independent, and full of life, no matter what age you are. Thank you so much for being here today. Take care of yourself, stay curious, and keep making choices that honor your body and your well-being. Until next time, stay strong, stay healthy, and live your best life.